The picture of the boy that you see in the thumbnail and on the video is that of 3-year-old Semyon, who was tortured, tormented, starved, and ultimately murdered by his own parents. Their name, Alexander Taratuta, 48 years of age, and the mother, Anastasia Taratuta, 37 years of age, from Belarus, a wealthy couple that abused their 3-year-old boy, Semyon, to the point that he died of starvation. I'm going to go through quite a bit of detail, so I will give you a trigger warning. Here's the good news. They've both been found guilty. We see pictures of them sitting together during the trial. The scumbag piece of shit father, Alexander Taratuta, has been sentenced to death in regards to the brutal torture and murder of his son, Semyon, 3 years of age. Belarus will be giving him the death penalty. He's going to be shot in the back of the head. And I applaud that. I'm very much supportive of capital punishment. I think scum like that need to be removed from the earth. I think that it's better for society if taxpayers don't have to pay for long-term incarceration of such evil pieces of shit. So I applaud the fact that he's going to be shot in the back of the head and dumped in a ditch somewhere. Congratulations, Belarus. In that regard, the wife, the mother, Anastasia Taratuta, was also found guilty in relation to her involvement of the death of her son, Semyon, 3 years of age, again, died due to starvation, tortured and tormented throughout his short life. We're going to go into details in a moment. But she escaped the death penalty. Why is that? Probably because she's a woman. That's my guess. Call me a cynic. Call me a misogynist if you like. But seemingly in Belarus, it's okay for women to kill their children. She's been given a sentence of 25 years in a strict regime penal colony, which falls short of the death penalty clearly, but I do hope that she gets plenty of opportunity to suffer in that strict regime penal colony. So, Belarus, don't give her any comforts. Let her suffer for those full 25 years. So we're told a little bit about the family and the injuries suffered by Semyon. We're told that the couple were wealthy, certainly in relation to Belarus standards, but despite their comfort, they shared none of that with their 3-year-old son. Semyon was forced to sleep on the bare vinyl floor, so no carpet, no cushions, no bed linen, on the vinyl floor. This is in Belarus. It gets cold in Belarus, and 3-year-old Semyon was often numb due to the cold. No heating, not for Semyon, but he was physically abused. The mother regularly punched him in the face, threw him at the wall. Semyon was dropped into the bath, but, physically bounced around here and there, treated like a pinball. He was tortured, he was tormented, he was tied to a table leg. At other times, his hands were tied together and food was dangled in front of his face. Can you imagine? These 6 CUNTs, mother and father, a 3-year-old boy. They tied his hands together and tormented him with food. He was starved. He was starved beyond recognition. He died at the age of 3. He weighed only 15 pounds. So a minute or two ago, I congratulated Belarus for their sentencing, certainly of the death penalty for the father, but I have to call in question Belarus's authorities in relation to their child protective services. Where was the protection for this child? How can you have a 3-year-old child weighing only 15 pounds? Obviously, there's going to be some exceptions. There's going to be some disabled children, etc., where perhaps they're not able to gain weight for this reason or that reason, but generally speaking, a normal healthy child at the age of 3 is going to weigh a heck of a lot more than 15 pounds. Where were the authorities, the doctors, other family members, other community members, their neighbors? Where were they? Why didn't anybody alert the authorities to this dreadful situation? Hey, authorities, my next door neighbor is starving their son to death. He's 3 years of age. He's skin and bone. So, to me, whomever witnessed, whomever came into contact with little Semyon and failed to report the situation to authorities have let himself down and really shamed the community, in my mind. We're told that Semyon died January the 4th, 2023, after the father kicked him in the head. That's right, kicked him in the head. Why? Well, because the father wanted the boy to sit on the floor. He wasn't sitting down, so obviously the father kicked him in the head. I'm being facetious only to highlight the ridiculousness of the situation, the absolute evil of the situation. He kicked his 3-year-old boy in the head. His son that weighed only 15 pounds. You see the pictures of the father, 48 years of age, a grown man, healthy, wealthy, fit and strong, kicking his 3-year-old son in the head after he'd been starved. We're told that a doctor said that Semyon was very thin, like a skeleton. He was covered in skin, looking like an African child with a big belly. So, reminiscent of Ethiopians and such that starved to death. Again, the parents, wealthy, perfectly able to raise a child. Poverty was not an issue. Semyon had a litany of other injuries as well. He had an abrasion on his head. Some of his hair was missing. His eye socket was torn almost to the temple. Semyon Semyon had 8 other serious wounds, all of which had been inflicted upon him by his own parents. There were other children involved. The husband and wife had 2 other children together, both girls, one age 4, one age 1, and the mother had 2 sons from a previous relationship, 14 years of age and 12 years of age. We're told that thankfully none of the other children suffered abuse, certainly not to the level that Semyon did. Semyon was targeted for one sick reason or another. He's the one that faced the stream, the torrent of abuse that led to his death. And that's pretty much all the information that we have. It seems that Semyon died after a final beating at the hands of both the mother and the father. They beat him, struck him multiple times each. The court believed that they did so with the intent of killing him, and they succeeded. So the father is now to be shot in the back of the head. It's unlikely that he will be granted a pardon even if he were to seek an appeal. We're told that he'll be blinded, forced to kneel, and then he'll be shot in the back of the head. Execution style, and he deserves that. The mother also deserves it, but she's been given somewhat of a pass, 25 years in a strict regime penal colony, and again I hope she suffers. So thoughts and prayers to all those touched by the death of 3-year-old Semyon, by the murder of 3-year-old Semyon, particularly his siblings. 4 other children in the family, each thankfully escaped the torture that befell upon little Semyon. They've been placed into child protective services, but you know what, I don't really give them too much faith. So let's hope that they do manage to grow up to be normal humans. I say that because the torture that they've witnessed could be enough to give them extreme trauma of various kinds, could lead to poor behaviors of certain types. So let's hope the other children are able to cope with the awfulness that they've witnessed, the awfulness that they've somewhat been a part of. They've had to be there in the room while Semyon was beaten, whilst his hands were tied together, unable to eat, tormented, dropped in a bath, slammed against walls, starved to the point that he was 15 pounds, an enlarged belly. I don't remember the medical reasons as to why those that are starved do get an enlarged belly, but that is what happens. Skin and bones. Absolutely disgusting. So I'm going to wrap things up at this point. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. If you're in a position to consider joining my membership, please do. Perhaps you're able to drop a super thanks, but I'll thank you for your time. Take care.